Hi, everybody. Welcome to the OnStage Blog Theatre Podcast. And we're really excited today because we are here to talk about what makes the perfect community theater season. It's going to be fun, and we're going to go over a whole bunch of different seasons. And I thought that this would be a fun sort of tool to not only talk about what makes a perfect season, but also just talk about a whole bunch of different shows, kind of as a tool. So like you don't have to be in Utah to sort of appreciate this episode, because it's just going to be a bunch of different shows and seasons that we'll talk about.
Yeah, I think this is so fun because community theater is so dear to my heart. And I think it's an incredible thing for really every community. I wish every community could have a community theater. And just sort of being like, oh, what does make a season that feels like, oh, this is a really exciting, robust season. And then other times you're like, that's an interesting choice.
Yeah. And it's interesting because it's actually something that community theater can offer that Broadway can't offer, because Broadway, you have residencies, you have, shows that last for 20 years there. And so each theater isn't really responsible for coming up with a season, where they have 2 weeks of this and 2 weeks of that and 2 weeks of, and so unless it's something like Lincoln Center or the Kennedy Center in DC, something like that, which has more of a season.
Yeah.
But, it's something that community theater can actually, I was talking to my friend Mark Bonatti about that, that he was like saying like, oh, I'm jealous because you get to see so many different shows. Whereas like, even though he's in New York, it's the same shows.
It really is interesting that if you think about community theater or regional theater, where these theaters get to pick a season that is not only like, oh, these are the shows that we're doing because we want to do them, but they also, if it's done well, can fit together in this beautiful way where we have a farce and we have a Shakespeare and we have a new edgy play and we have a big musical and we have this. Like it's really great to be able to put together a season.
Yeah. And the goal should be to have a subscriber base, a season ticket base that will hopefully allow a community theater to take a little bit of risk. And it depends on the theater. Some of them are going to be a lot of risk, that they've established a base that wants them to, do edgy choices and do, but then other places will hopefully, like usually the straight plays are more of a risk as far as sales. So hopefully you have a season ticket base that will kind of give you the freedom to be able to take some risks.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Rachel, that it's like, depending on what area you're in, not just the subject matter, but even doing a straight play, even if it's a very by the book straight play, even that in of itself could be a risk as far as ticket sales go.
It's true. I mean, I went and saw the most incredible production of Shakespeare in Love at West Valley Performing Arts Center, which is a theater that struggled to get the attendance that it deserves, unfortunately. But it was so good. And I'm like, if people knew how good this was, if people knew, then I think if people knew about it, I think that they would just love it. I can't imagine anybody not loving that play. And then it was interesting because then they did The Lightning Thief, which I thought was very weak. I mean, they were amazing. The production was really good. The talent, very good. But I thought the actual musical was very weak. I thought it had like so many characters to keep track of. It was ridiculous. Like I needed some kind of notebook keeping track of all these. I mean, there were like 7 different villains, and they were like, and the songs I thought were incredibly forgettable. But just the fact of it having name recognition, first of all, even though Shakespeare in Love does, but just the fact I think that it's a musical. And it had I think the highest attendance they've ever had.
Really?
Yeah, for that theater, yeah. So
yeah, it's interesting what appeals to people and what doesn't appeal.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you have those safe bet plays like Romeo and Juliet.
Yep,
is a safe bet. It'll have a good attendance. And what was interesting is that I went and saw Music Man on July 4th, and it was a huge auditorium, like really big high school auditorium, packed every seat.
Really?
Yeah. I'm just like, I mean, if there's anything that's a surefire hit, it's the Music Man. It just people, at least here, people just absolutely love it. Look at it on Broadway.
I think you're absolutely right. I feel like Music Man is always a crowd pleaser. Like people want to, and even for me, it's not one of my favorites, but also like the music's good. It's a big cast. It's this big book musical that's fun.
Yeah. And it has a lot of kids. And so that helps too.
So many kids.
Because everybody wants to go see their kids, you know.
We will support. Yeah. Yeah. And then it's also like, if you're thinking about it from a community theater standpoint, there's all our Pick a Little ladies. There's all the, like, it is a big cast. So people will show up and show out for it.
So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about these different seasons. Most of these are in Utah, and we're going to give them a grade, a letter grade of how we think the seasons are, the variety, the selections that they have, just whatever we think goes into it.
Yeah. And
I think this will be fun. And so if you're watching on the YouTube, I have a little Google Slides thing that I'm going. So the first one is Hale Center Theater. Hale Center Theater is I call it kind of the Disneyland of Utah. It's a big spectacle entertainment venue. They have a stage that moves around and has all those different layers. It's theater in the round. It's really incredible. They have 2 stages. And so what was interesting is this last year, they had like an experimental phase. It was interesting. I actually appreciated it, but it was not very popular. So going
Rachel liked it. Everybody else, not so much.
So going into this next year, it doesn't surprise me at all that they have picked a pretty safe season. But it's not without value. So we'll talk about, so we have, like I said, they have 2 stages, so they can do quite a bit, but they have, the Addams Family, and then one of their premieres, The Magician's Elephant. Like I said, they did 4 premieres this last 23 to 24 season, which again, not very popular, but this is the last of those premieres. This is the US premiere, believe it or not. It premiered in London, but it has not had at least according to my research, it hasn't had a US release. So that's interesting. And then they have Beauty and the Beast and A Christmas Carol. That's their tradition. They always do Christmas Carol every year. And then going into 2025, they have Little Women, The Prince of Egypt, the musical, Finding Neverland, 12 Angry Men, Footloose, the musical comedy Murders of 1940, and Sister Act. So what do you think about this season?
So much like you, like I really appreciate when people take some risks and maybe things are a little bit edgier. And as you said, this is a very, very safe season. Yeah. But with that being said, I think within that realm of safety, there's actually a decent amount of variety and shows that I really like. Christmas Carol, always a crowd pleaser. Love Little Women. Footloose is fantastic. Sister Act. And I've not seen the musical comedy Murders of 1940, but out of all of these shows, it's the one that I would want to see the most, right?
Yeah.
Wait, when is that? Oh, I should try.
Yeah, I don't know that much about it. I don't know anything about it, but I do. When I saw Sister Act and Footloose, I was like, oh, I've just seen those
September, like next
year. Yeah, I've just seen those so many times. That is no interest to me. Addams Family, oh my gosh, like it's fun, but I've seen it so many times.
Yeah,
and I do have nostalgia for Beauty and the Beast, and I get it. You got to do it. You know, those Disney ones just bring. At least it's not Mary Poppins.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's not my favorite.
Mary Poppins. Yeah. The Prince of Egypt. It's not the best adaptation, but I still. I mean, I've only ever seen the pro shot. I've never seen it live, so I'm kind of excited to see it.
Yeah.
But it's flawed. It's flawed. Finding Neverland, I'm curious about. I've never seen it. I mean, I've seen the movie, but I've never seen the musical.
Yeah, I'm curious. And like 12 Angry Men is interesting because I've seen a couple audition notices going out lately that it's like 12 angry women, 12 angry people. And I'm like, oh, I guess you're just doing 12 angry men. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, I've never seen it live. I've only ever seen the movie.
Same.
So that'd be kind of fun. Yeah. So I love Little Women. I'd give this a B.
Yeah, I would give this a B as well. Maybe a B plus because I'm just so excited about this musical comedy Murders. I have to visit you before then, but I actually have to come for that one.
It's a deal. Okay, so then this is the Broadway national tour. So coming to Eccles, we have Wicked, Mrs. Doubtfire, Funny Girl, Peter Pan, Kimberly Kimbo, Life of Pi, and Juliet. I have to say, none of these I'm like, except for Kimberly Kimbo, I'm like super excited. I mean, because we're talking about these are very expensive. I mean, over $100 a ticket. So
yeah.
I kind of, I'm a bit choosier with this. Like Peter Pan and Juliet, Funny Girl, Mrs. Doubtfire. I don't know, just not that exciting to me for when you're talking these big bucks.
Yeah, I mean, I love Wicked, but I wouldn't need to see it on tour. I have not seen Kimberly Kimbo, and I also am, and I should have seen
I really
that.
wanted. That's the one that for sure I want a ticket for sure.
Yeah, that's the one I'm the most curious about. Mrs. Doubtfire, I have like 2 students that are auditioning for the national tour. So if they get it, I'd be like, yes, let's do it. But yeah, there's nothing here that I'm like, I absolutely need to see. Although, yeah, Kimberly Kimbo is also the most
it's just so strange the way that Broadway did this like strange drag period. Because you had Tootsie and Mrs. Doubtfire, you had Some Like It Hot. Like, what?
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
Not there's anything wrong with drag, but just like to have those kind of characters repeated,
it felt like it was like
the butt of the joke for 3 musicals.
Exactly. And I think the interesting thing is Some Like It Hot, this production at least.
I haven't seen any of those 3, I should say.
Well, Some Like It Hot did it in an extremely like beautiful, classy, like that was great. But as far as Mrs. Doubtfire and Tootsie, I think you're right. Like it still was like the butt of the joke and like, oh, it's a guy in drag, LOL, which just feels like very like 90s jokes.
Right.
So I agree with you. It seems interesting that it was like, okay, they're having this moment kind of playing on this joke that really just landed in like the 90s or early 2000s, whenever they were.
So I would actually give this a C. I just think it's a pretty underwhelming tour.
Yeah, there's nothing in there that's making me be like, oh, I would just give anything to see that.
Except for Kimberly Kimbo. That's the only one that I would want to spend more than 100 for.
Yeah.
Okay, then we have Hale Orem, which is building a new whole theater. It's going to be called The Ruth in Pleasant Grove. I do have season tickets to them. They've been consistently really good. And they have Ragtime, Something Rotten, Cinderella, Flowers for Mrs. Harris, to be announced, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, The Play That Goes Wrong, A Christmas Carol, and An American in Paris.
Again, I like a little more edge. However, with that being said, I just adore Ragtime.
Yeah.
It moves me to like no end. It is such a beautiful show. Something Rotten and The Play That Goes Wrong are hilarious. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, A Christmas Carol, like classics, good for kids to see. We have Cinderella, which I also appreciate that we have stuff that's good for kids because I think for community theater that's really important. I do not know much about An American Paris, and I don't know Flowers for Mrs. Harris at all.
In American in Paris, you have to have really good dancers if you're going to. Yeah, it is. I mean, there's hardly any plot at all.
Big dance show. Okay,
it is a dance show. I actually saw it on Broadway. I mean, I do think Ragtime is actually a pretty edgy choice, especially to open up their theater. It's the first one that's going to be at this new theater. Because it is sometimes challenging here in Utah to get the casting correct. Yeah. For Ragtime, it can be challenging to do. But they'll nail it. And I do love Something Rotten. So I actually going to give this an A. Like I feel I'm a little tired of The Play That Goes Wrong. I've seen it a lot of times. But still, I feel confident in renewing my season tickets. So that says something, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Then there's Terrace Plaza. And they have The Little Mermaid, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, Sister Act, Scrooge, Christmas Carol, Titanic the Musical, The Pajamas Game, and A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder. What do you think?
So, love that we're seeing Sister Act again. It's a fun one. I have a soft spot for The Pajama Game. I think it's a really fun show.
I've never seen it. So that's actually the one that intrigues me the most out of these.
I feel like it. I did it in college and in summer stock, and it's just like a really cute show, catchy songs. It's not like reinventing the wheel, but like it's a fun big book musical.
Yeah.
I've heard great things about A Gentleman's Guide, but actually don't know it. Okay, question for you.
I'm kind of bored of it.
So you're like, I'm over it.
Yeah, it is fun, especially if you get, because it has the same actor plays the whole Dice with family. So it has like 12 different roles, and he's always putting on a hat. So if you get a really good Dice with actor, then it is quite fun. I'm just a little tired of it. It's been, so that one I wouldn't interest me. I have no interest in The Little Mermaid. I've seen it so many times.
I'm good.
I have never seen Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, so that might make me go up there and see it, because I've heard it's fun.
And this Scrooge A Christmas Carol, can you explain? Do you know the difference between?
Yeah, so this is one loosely based on the movie Albert Finney.
Okay.
And thank you very much. It's the nicest thing that anyone's ever said. It does seem like Dirty Rotten Scoundrels is a really strange choice for this company, because it's a very family friendly company. This is a very, like, I don't know. I was surprised when I saw that. Grade for Terrace Plaza.
Me, I would probably give that like a straight B.
Yeah, same. Okay, so Hail Arizona, we have Joseph the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, Holiday Inn, Christmas Carol, Cash on Delivery, The Marvelous Wonderettes, Anything Goes, Camelot, The Scarlet Pimpernel, and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So this one, I mean, I think Holiday Inn's interesting choice. I've never seen the stage adaptation. Of course, the film is kind of notorious for having a blackface scene, long blackface scene. Obviously, that's not in the musical, but anyway, I've just never seen it. Joseph. But everything else,
I have such a soft spot for Joseph.
Oh, you do?
I just like, I don't know why. I don't know why. For some reason, I hear that go Joe, and I'm just in it. Yeah. I'm in it to win it.
Cash on Delivery is a fun play. Marvelous Wonderettes is boring. Anything Goes, I love so much. That's definitely, of this lineup, is the most exciting to me.
Anything Goes is fantastic.
Yeah. And Scarlet Pimpernel's fun. Camelot is fun. So I like those. I'd say this is a pretty good set. I'd say this is a pretty good season. I think I give it like a B+.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the variety of this one.
Yeah. Okay, so then we have Draper Historic, and this is going back into this year, because they haven't announced a ton going forward. But we have A Christmas Story, Annie Jr., Legally Blonde, which they crushed. It was so good.
Really?
Sweeney Todd, Newsies, and then Matilda and Anastasia. Anastasia, I think, is such a snooze. I really don't like that adaptation. But the rest I think is pretty solid, pretty fun. It is a little safe, but it's fun.
It's safe but cute. I love that for the most part, like, very kid friendly. Also, I love Sweeney Todd. I have a question. Why are we doing Annie Jr.?
The reason why is because Annie's on tour right now. There's a national tour, so they couldn't get approval. That's why.
Okay, that thank you for clarifying that. That makes complete sense, because I understand, like we had talked about before, like I understand doing Into the Woods Junior or other shows, the junior version, but I'm like, Annie is like for kids.
I would actually give this an A-. I'm not the biggest Matilda fan, but I don't know. I feel like this is a pretty good season, and I'm real excited to see their Sweeney Todd. I think it's gonna be really fun.
Yeah, I also like that they like had a Christmas story, which is different than a Christmas Carol. Like I think that there's a lot of fun in here. And like as someone who like loves kid actors, like I think that this is a fun season for kids too.
Yeah. Okay, the Ziegfelds. So they have Spelling Bee, Mary Poppins, Company, Rock of Ages, Beauty and the Beast, the musical, Sweeney Todd, and Annie. So this is their current season, actually. I think that if I was just basing it off of I had seen some of these, I do think this is a pretty good variety for them to have, a pretty good mixture of doing some more mature shows, Tucson Times, and then some more family shows, more fun shows with Annie, Mary Poppins, even though I hate it, Beauty and the Beast. It's a pretty good season, I think. What do you think?
I totally agree with you. First of all, I'm thrilled to see Company in here. Along with, like you said, Sweeney Todd. Rock of Ages is fun. It's different. Not my favorite, but cool. Yeah. I really, really like Spelling Bee. And then, yeah, we have like Mary Poppins, Beauty and the Beast, Annie, like 3 big book musicals that are great for kids. I think this is a very well-rounded season. Like for me, even though it's not like, oh my gosh, my favorite all-time shows, I would give this like an A- as far as like selection.
Same. So the next one is OPA, and they have like 3 or 4 little stages that are kind of sort of like multiple black boxes.
Yeah.
And they have an education mission. So that's why there's so many on this. So some of them are their students
very cool.
that they're doing. Yeah. And so they have Hunchback of Notre Dame, It's Only a Play, a chorus line, and then Into the Woods, and Mary Poppins, Next to Normal, The Mousetrap, Almost Maine, Holiday Follies, Anastasia, and so that's on their like main stage. And then the junior stage, they have Cinderella, Frozen, Guys and Dolls, and Midsummer's Night's Dream, and Finding Nemo for Kids, Drowsy Chaperone Jr., SpongeBob the Musical Youth Edition. So anyway, they've got a lot going on there. Very fishy.
Got a lot going on.
I do think this is a lot of variety. I'm not that big on Into the Woods. I don't really like the SpongeBob musical. I don't like Mary Poppins. So there's a bunch that I don't love. I don't love Anastasia, but I'm definitely intrigued to see Mousetrap because it's been on Broadway in South. It's been on the West End for like 50 years.
Yes.
So I'm curious to see that. And they're a chorus line I love. And I don't know. What do you think of this?
I also love a chorus line. To me, the real standouts for this one, that I haven't seen for a while or want to see. What's that?
Next to Normal.
I was just gonna say Next to Normal. Next to Normal. I love Next to Normal. Love The Mousetrap. Almost Maine is great. I really like Guys and Dolls. Also like a chorus line. Yeah, there's so much here I'd want to see. Now, Next to Normal is so not only difficult to sing some of the roles, but the acting in that is a beast.
Yes.
So it's an interesting community theater production. And also it's not, if I'm remembering correctly, it's not really a huge ensemble. So
yeah, that's true. No, it's only got like 6 roles.
It's an interesting choice. Like, for example, a show like that, it's difficult to find people that can sing it. Guys and Dolls is so great for community theater because you've got the huge numbers. Like, I see Guys and Dolls and I'm like, yes, this is going to be a really positive community theater experience for people.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, especially they're doing the junior. So like, it'll be fun for the teens to do.
Oh, I didn't even see the little junior there.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's what's nice about these fairy tale ones, Anastasia, Mary Poppins, all that stuff is it's just really a great way to introduce to the kids. I just think SpongeBob, you can tell that it literally every song was written by a different person. You can tell. And I just don't think it's very funny. That's my main problem with it. It takes itself like pretty seriously. It's like this weird apocalyptic story about the world's going to end and corrupt government. And I don't know. I just don't get it.
Well, it's funny. I was never into the TV show. Heard there was a musical. And like, even when you were just saying that stuff about it, Rachel, I was like, I have no idea. I've never had any desire to find out more about SpongeBob than the minuscule amount that I already know. So
But
yeah,
yeah,
I
each of the
don't need
songs
to see
was
it.
written by a different person.
Wait, that's interesting
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
strange. Where's the cohesiveness
It
on that
is
then?
there's none existing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Oh, I would give that. I would give that actually an A. I think it's a real strong season.
Yeah.
Variety. Okay, then we have a Hope Box, which they have a great mission. Their company, they pick a Hope Box recipient each show, and that is going through cancer, and they donate the
What?
proceeds. Yeah, it's really cool.
Oh,
And
I love
and
that.
and so they have. This is coming from last year because they haven't announced their new season very much. But anyway, we have The Little Mermaid, Into the Woods, Christmas Carol, 9 to 5, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, Oliver, Mary Poppins, Jekyll and Hyde, A Christmas Story. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, like Oliver, I enjoy. 9 to 5 is a lot of fun. I'm also not the biggest Mary Poppins fan. I do like Into the Woods definitely more than you do. Little Mermaid, I don't need to see again. Seven Brides is okay. Like Jekyll and Hyde, I do really like. So, like, yes, like, first of all, this mission is incredible, and
Yeah.
I
will definitely take you here when you come
we have
because
to go here.
they've never missed it. I mean, even something like I think the Seven Brides for Seven Brothers adaptation is really bad, and they only have like 3 songs from the movie in the. But I enjoyed seeing it there. I enjoyed seeing it, and it was really cool there. Oliver, they had this whole steampunk aesthetic.
Oh, that's so
very cool. Yeah, and I was
actually
like,
the steampunk aesthetic works for that show.
Yeah, and it's kind of it's the way that the theater's designed is you kind of feel like you're in a tunnel, so it worked even better for the and I was like, man, I would love if they did like Urinetown. Oh,
yes, that would be amazing.
So good. I actually think this is a pretty weak season. I would give this a C.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I'd be interested to know the coming soon. Like, what are we getting here? What's going to round this out for us?
That's true. Heritage. This is a really adorable theater that in the small town where they've converted this little old church into a theater.
Cute.
It's really fun. And what I love about their company so much is they have just consistently improved. The very first time I saw it was very rough, and they just keep getting better. And I saw My Fair Lady that was talked about, but My Fair Lady, I reviewed that for UTBA, and it was excellent all across the board. It was so good. So they're getting better, but they have A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, She Loves Me, Snoopy, My Fair Lady, Pirates of Penzance, Peter and the Starcatcher, the SpongeBob Musical Youth Edition, Anastasia, Clue the Musical, and Nutcrackers. What do you think?
Nutcrackers, fun. I love Pirates. Clue the Musical, I know the play. I didn't even know there was a musical. To me, if that's again, I love mysteries, I love musicals. Like I'm so all in on this. Wait, is that coming up?
Which one?
The Clue, is that like
October.
This October?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Ooh.
This October. Yeah.
So maybe we should
do
that. I also really like Peter and the Starcatcher. Like, so this is like to me, this is an okay season. I don't really see the cohesiveness in it as much, and there's certain things I'm not interested in seeing at all. But like Peter the Starcatcher, Clue the Musical, Pirates, Nutcrackers, I'm all in on those.
I love the fact that they're thinking outside the box for Christmas show, doing Nutcrackers, which is really funny, and I just appreciate that. I love She Loves Me. That's one of my favorites. I'm a little tired of Gentleman's Guide, but it is a fun show. Most people haven't seen it as many times as me, so they'll enjoy it. Their My Fair Lady was outstanding. Pirates of Penzance is a little snooze to me. I was kind of a little underwhelmed by Peter and the Starcatcher. I found it kind of confusing. Like maybe it was just the company I saw it with, but I was like, what is happening? I don't know. I just found the book kind of confusing.
I feel like, I mean, I saw it years ago off Broadway, and I remember being like, oh, there's a lot happening.
Yeah.
But I thought the performances were good. So I was like, okay, sure.
Yeah. And Anastasia, snooze. But Clue the musical, I am intrigued because I've seen the play a billion times.
Yeah.
But yeah, see the musical would be fun. And so I actually, if I live close, because this is about an hour from my house, so it's a drive. If I lived close, I would get season tickets. This is definitely intriguing enough to me. I would give this an A.
Yeah.
I think it's a good season.
Yeah, I really want to see Clue the musical. So hey.
Yeah. Then we have Pioneer Theater Company, which is one of our equity companies in Salt Lake. And they are doing Jersey Boys, Prayer for the French Republic, Souvenir, Dial M for Murder, Beautiful, the Carole King musical, A Case for the Existence of God, and Waitress. I think it's an interesting season. I've never seen Jersey Boys, so I'm kind of excited to get to see it professionally done. Dial M for Murder I thought was so boring. But it has its appeal. It's hard because you don't get to meet the inspector who's got all the personality and everything until the second act.
Where you're like, huh? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't love it. Beautiful. I haven't seen, so I'm excited to see that. The plays have done well. I'm glad. I think it's kind of cool. They're creative doing the souvenir for doing a non-Christmas piece for the holidays. I think is bold.
Yeah.
I guess it's Florence Foster Jenkins, that story, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Waitress. Yeah, I like Waitress. So.
I really appreciate, because I feel like as we're looking at all these seasons, we're seeing a lot of stuff repeated over and over again. And I really like that this is such a unique mix of things.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the musicals, I really like Beautiful. I really like Waitress, and I really like Jersey Boys. And I'm appreciating all the plays that we're seeing here too. I don't know A Case for the Existence of God, but the title is intriguing.
Yeah. When they were talking about it, it is actually not that religious, they were saying.
Oh, okay.
Just as
interesting.
Ironic. I forget now what she said that it was about, but Prayer for the French Republic just was up for Tony's. So it's a new play.
I'm curious. I don't know a lot about that one either.
Yeah. So, I would give this a B+.
Yeah, I'm very interested in this one. I think it's not like I'm like, oh my gosh, these are the best shows ever, but I'm really appreciating the selection.
Yeah. Okay. Then Sanctuary, which is a black box, small theater. They have American Idiot, Once Upon a Mattress, The Fantastics, Evil Dead the Musical, and White Christmas. So I actually give this a pretty high score. I think it's pretty great. The Fantastics I actually don't love. I just don't like the story. I think I really Try to Remember is the only memorable song in my opinion. But they're doing Evil Dead the Musical, which I'm so excited about.
I love that in this season they have Evil Dead the Musical and American Idiot the Musical. I'm like, this is cool. Again, this is a very unique season. I absolutely love Once Upon a Mattress.
Yes.
So yeah, and White Christmas too. I think The Fantastics is a little boring for my taste.
Yes, right? Okay.
Yeah. A little boring for me.
Yeah. I would still, though, even with that, I would give this an A.
Well, I would too, in the sense that even though Fantastics I do think is a little bit boring, it's a classic. There's some good music, and it's a really nice balance for like Evil Dead.
Yeah. And this is a learning company. You're not going to have the polish, just of people getting that's part of the fun of it.
And that's okay. That's part of the fun.
And
I completely agree.
Yes. Okay. Then Tuacahn, the other spectrum. This is equity. This is big outdoor amphitheater in St. George. They have Frozen, and then Anastasia, Jersey Boys, The Ring of Fire, and Christmas Carol. So, I've actually never been to Tuacahn, which is like kind of crazy for a theater nerd here in Utah. I think like a big deal. Doesn't super make me want to drive down to St. George.
Yeah. I'd be interested in Ring of Fire, Christmas, but again,
I guess they have like a Johnny Cash imitator guy who's like that's his thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's nothing here is reinventing the wheel. Like there's nothing in here that's making me be like, wow, look at that season,
Yeah. So I'd give this a C.
Yeah.
Okay. Centerpoint, which is one of the biggest bang for your bucks in the area. They have such quality productions, and you can still get tickets for around $20. So it's a really good company in my
For
opinion.
$20. Oh, so this season ticket pricing, that's for the whole season?
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
Really good deals. Yeah. So I have season tickets to them. So they have, and this is this last season, so it's wrapping up, but they have Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, Seussical, Kiss Me Kate, which is what's running currently. And then they're doing School of Rock, Into the Woods, and Christmas Carol. You see why my feelings about Into the Woods. It's on so many seasons.
Between Into the Woods and Gentleman's Guide, you were like too many times, Rachel. I feel for you. It's like, what is happening? Now I see, because like I really like Into the Woods, but also I don't have the opportunity to see it that often. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I see why you're like, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
I'm also not a huge Seussical person. I didn't love their production either. They used a lot of AI, background screens, projections. I don't know.
Really?
It just didn't have the whimsy that I would love. I saw another version of it this last month that I liked much better. But I don't know. It's just like has no story, and so it's just all these like random scenes thrown up on screen on stage.
You're like, okay. I enjoy a lot of the songs in Seussical.
There's some fun songs, yeah.
Like Alone in the Universe is so great.
Yeah.
And I think Gertrude McFuzz is such a cute character. Like I think it's a charming show.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like Kiss Me Kate.
Yeah, I mean, it has some major outdated elements, but this was a wonderful production, and the dancing was so good. Especially the one who played Bill was so good.
Yes.
And they had incredible sets. I mean, it was really great. It's a long set, Kiss Me Kate. It feels really
yes, it
long.
is.
But yes, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, this isn't like this is again, nothing that I'm like, oh, wow, I can't believe they're doing that, or I'm so excited they're doing that. But it's a nice selection of shows that I think kind of like pair well together.
Yeah. And I just saw School of Rock for the first time just this last month, and I kind of loved it.
It's a fun show.
Yeah, I really liked it. And I just loved the song "And Only You Would Listen." I think that is such an underrated, underappreciated song. It's so good. It's been on repeat.
You're like, that's in the rotation now. That's in the rotation.
I do have season tickets to them. I would give this one a B+ though.
Yeah.
Okay, Kensington Theater, and this is also one that has an education mandate, like that they do. That's why you have all these boot camps and stuff. But they have coming. So they've had this year. They've had Peter and the Starcatcher, Steel Magnolias, Secret Garden, Phantom of the Opera, and it was teens doing it. It was amazing. We're going to talk to Tony and coming up, and she was the director of it.
That's awesome.
It was unbelievable. And then they're doing Cats, and then next year they're doing Shrek, Man of La Mancha, Big Fish, and that's all they have announced. Little Shop of Horrors. So what do you think?
I love Steel Magnolias. Secret Garden is great. Peter Starcatcher, yes. Phantom of the Opera, like 2024 season, very interesting to me. I don't love Shrek, but but Little Shop of Horrors I love, and I'll be interested to see what they slot in there for the play to see what the full season actually looks like.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty bold season. I mean, to do Cats and Phantom of the Opera in one year?
Are you exhausted?
Yeah. And Secret Garden, that's no easy thing.
Yeah.
Man of La Mancha, I am really excited for that because I've never seen it. It's one of my bucket lists.
I've never seen it either. Like I know the music, but I've never seen it.
Yeah. And Little Shop of Horrors is always fun. I actually I think Shrek is so funny. Like I mean the songs and stuff, but it just makes me laugh.
You know what it might be? It might be like my Gentleman's Guide, because I saw so many Shrek Junior productions that I think I was probably like, I'm good.
Yeah. This is where I actually saw Peter and the Starcatcher, where I found it very confusing. It was in a black box, and so I don't know if that kind of made it a little more I don't know.
I saw it in a small space too, though.
Oh,
so yeah, it is. I think it's not the easiest through line.
Yeah. But still, I think this is really strong. I give this an A. It just has so much variety, something it's got classics, it's got new, it's got, yeah.
And if we're talking about like what the purpose of theater and community theater is, like as far as like, putting together, like even this is just really cool that they have all this stuff like with these boot camps. Like I love that like they're using theater to educate and inspire in this way.
Yeah. Okay, Stage Door. This is down in Southern Utah. They have Drowsy Chaperone, Assassins, Gypsy, and Arsenic and Old Lace. And I've never been to the theater because it's down in Southern Utah. I'm highly intrigued because they are picking bold choices. I mean, Assassins and Gypsy for community theater.
Rachel, I freaking love this season. Yeah. I love this season. A Drowsy Chaperone is even a bold choice too for who's playing like that lead. I love Assassins. I'm obsessed with Gypsy, Arsenic and Old Lace. I freaking love. Yeah. Like this season, I don't know. I can't be like, is this a good season for a community theater? But I can say that I absolutely want to see all these shows.
Yeah. Yeah. I would for sure have a season pass if I lived down there. And I've never seen Gypsy. I've seen Assassins once. And I enjoyed it, and I love Drowsy Chaperone. I saw that on Broadway in 2006, so with Sutton Foster and everything. And
wait, I saw it in 2000. It would be hilarious if we were there. I mean, we probably weren't there the same day, but that would be amazing if we were.
Because my aunt was living in New York in 2006, and so I went twice because I had somewhere to stay, and I just saw like tons of shows that year.
I love that you're just like, let me get them all in.
I think I saw 11 shows.
Oh my gosh.
That's
like, two trips. I bet Tony's that year were probably fun for you.
Yeah, they were. But I would give this an A. I really admire them. This is challenging.
Yeah.
And my friend saw their Assassins and said that it was good.
Really? Yeah. So, for me, this is definitely an A+ season. I love it.
West Valley Performing Arts, they have announced new going forward in 2025, but for now they have Sleepy Hollow. I mean, they going from last year, Sleepy Hollow, A Tale of Two Cities, Shakespeare in Love, The Lightning Thief, Legally Blonde, and Jacklyn Hyde. Now, I do have to say the Sleepy Hollow was absolutely terrible. I hated it. But if I didn't know that going into it,
if you didn't know,
I think that it's a really good mixture. You've got I don't know, like something new with The Lightning Thief, which was very popular even though I didn't like it. Legally Blonde I love so much. Jacklyn Hyde.
Yeah, also the Order.
Tales of Cities, yeah.
The Order is good too. Like it's like it's I agree with you. I think this is a really well balanced season.
Yeah. So let us know what you think makes for the perfect community theater season. And what you think of these seasons, which one you would want to get a subscription to. We would love to hear in the comment section, and make sure you're following OnStage Blog all over the place on social media and everywhere else, and check out the playlist for all of our other episodes. We have some really fun theater content going on there. And Jax, where can people follow you?
Jacklyn Collier on Instagram.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes, and at rachelsreviewstheater.com. And at the Utah Theater Bloggers and at Utah Theater Bloggers. So make sure you check me out there. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye.